Hello and welcome. Really excited to show this off now. This is version 3.0 of the DJ Duplicate Cleaner app. It's taken a bit longer than I first anticipated to get here, and every time I've tried to make this video, it's become like a kind of quality assurance session, because I've been going through the features and I'm like, hey, I don't like how that works, and I've been going back to the drawing board, fixing things, making things better. But I think where we are now is a really great place, and I'm happy to present this to you all as version 3.0. So welcome for those who are here for the first time. Maybe you've just stumbled upon this software because you've seen it on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere and you've thought, hey, that looks really useful. And if so, really pleased that you're here, because primarily I designed this software to fix an issue that I was having, where my library had just become too large and there was many duplicate songs, you know, all the big hitters when you're doing multiple genres, and you just seem to absorb the same songs from various sources, whether that be just your own personal libraries or a compilation, various artists, or a soundtrack or something like that. And then I made a piece of software and we called it DJ Duplicate Cleaner, and it went through version 1 and 2. And then I found that actually I was cleaning things that had cue points and loops attached to it, or there was beat grid adjustments, and that just really wasn't where I wanted it to be. So we went back to the drawing board, and it's grown and it's grown, it's grown until we are where we are now. So yeah, this is it. And for those who have been with me since version 1 or 2, welcome back, and you'll probably notice some very welcome changes to not only the functionality but the UI in general. So let's get to it then, because like I said, I've made this video so many times and I'm really hoping this video, this version is the one. Okay, phone's got 20% battery. I'm using the phone as a microphone, so I've got like a plug-in microphone, don't worry about that. So yeah, I'm hoping this is the one where we get to the end and it's like, right, perfect, no problems, and it's ready for release, because I did promise you it would release today at 8 o'clock and I'm pushing the limits there. So yeah, let's start from the top. We'll go from the top left. You'll see we've got a new icon, which I'm super proud of. I think it looks class, really amazing. It started off as just a little idea, went back and forth, and a few iterations later, and I was like, okay, mine looks a bit flat compared to other icons. Let's make it burst out of the scene. Let's make it look glossy, make it have like a glass effect to it. I think it's great. So this is what we're going to be sticking with from here on out, and that is my branding, my application. It's class. Underneath that, you've got the version 3.0 Pro. So this should update every time now when I release a new version. So that's just a quick and handy way of seeing what version you're using currently. The Browse Library button, that's not going to change, because that is the centralized function to navigate into your repository where your songs are, and then bring in your returns in this area here. We can make that large or small if you want more information on the screen or not. I quite like the default area and use the grouping area for the main information window. So let's move ourselves down to the lower area of the left hand pane. Then we've got an info view, which I kind of really liked as what Ableton Live does. They have a similar thing, so I brought that across here and just replicated the functionality. We can turn that on or off. And then the left hand side, we used to have a load of settings here, but again that took up precious real estate from this left hand pane, so we've tucked them away into their own preference menu. And this info view, that comes across with you into the preferences. So there's a lot going on in here, and it's really because it's not really a better way of doing it at the moment. Maybe I'll go back to the drawing board, but for now let's work through it logically from the top. So you've got the master output destination. This is the vault when you finally decide to go through all of the stages and remove the songs from your libraries. Actually at that point they're not gone, they just go to this safety vault. You can bring them back at that point, because I've incorporated an undo function to take them all back all the way through the process to your libraries. But if you delete them from this folder, which we create, and you can choose that here, change path, once you delete them from that area, they're gone forever. Well, in your kind of recycle or trash can kind of area. So that is the final stage where you have that decision making point. Moving down then, we've got our software database connections. You can hit refresh on these anytime, it will just jump in and reload the databases. There you go. So at the minute we've got a memory synced, 2,507 tracks are protected, and that's looking at your cues, your loops, and just anything that's in a library. So let's click OK on that, with the exception of Rekordbox. So Alpha, Theta, Pioneer, they do things a bit differently. They're quite protective, so you have to export this manually, and we do that by going into Rekordbox, going into File, Export Collection in an XML format. So anytime you spend a bit of time updating, adding songs, adding new cue points, adding loops, etc., just export that library collection, overwrite the one you've created initially when you get to use my software, because it is required. And this is only if you're a Rekordbox user. And then there's a little warning message here, so it does not update automatically. You have to update that for my software to replicate the information that's based within Rekordbox. So if you're adding more and more cue points and you think, hey, my song in DJ Duplicate Cleaner doesn't show that I've got cue points and loops, that's why, because you need to update your XML files, and there's nothing I can really do to overcome that at the moment. I will investigate it, but I think it's just a case that it's pretty well locked down. But when it comes to Serato, Virtual DJ, Engine DJ, Traktor, once you go to your add source, and you can just pick it wherever you go. So it usually goes to the default location, so this is it here. m.db is the engine one. Click that, it's already linked, we don't need to do it again. But they update automatically, so every time the software closes and reopens, it will have a little look and re-update. Or like I said, you can click the refresh button and it will do it for you. So moving down then, we've got the previous settings, the ignore hidden files, the smart exclusions, and the write cleaned tag. Ignore hidden files is to pay no attention to any 0 kilobyte database files. Things like VLC will add a little config file if you've listened to a song in Windows, for example. Smart exclusions, so you can turn that on if you don't want to be given the returns. So song A and song A disco remix, for example, there will be 2 versions, so you can turn it on and you won't be given them as a duplicate. All these settings remain persistent, so when you close the software down and reopen it, they will come back into the previous state that you closed it down at, so that's pretty good. And then you've got your target audio formats, so if you only want to clean MP3s, for example, you just turn off your higher quality audio files, and you won't be given them as your returns. You'll only be given MP3s, MP4As, MP4s, zip and CDGs, which is great, and you can configure that any way you want. So that's all for the preferences. Let's go out of there. The last thing we've introduced on the left hand pane is a day-night mode, and it's only a 2 color scheme, so we can go from one or the other depending on your ambient lighting situation. I think maybe in the future this will open a pop-up and we'll start to have maybe community driven color schemes, but for now we've only got 2 options, which is the day and the night. So moving on then, let's go to our library. So we've got a test library 2, which is actually just spelt wrong. It's called TES library 2, and this is an area where I've added a few songs, some of my own tracks, and I've duplicated them just so you can see similar functionality or how it's supposed to work. So we've got some information here. We've got the ability to open them up a bit thicker, is like the card view, which I think is how the original design was that I made, or we can shrink it down to compact view, so that's default now. I kind of like the shrunk down version. We can select them all really quickly, and that brings every group over to the right hand side for quick viewing, and we can deselect them all really quickly as well. We can control or command click various ones, and that brings them over as well for review. And again, on the right hand side, we've got either the card view or the list view, which gives you more information to work with. As you can see, we've got the information within each song to show you if a song is in the library, which is the LIB tag, or if it's got the musical note and it's glowing, that means, you know, hey, we've got some cue points or edits, or you've done some work to it within the software, so that's one you probably want to keep hold of. When it comes to MP3 or WAV, or just variants in file sizes, it will highlight and annotate which one is the best version. You can, and obviously on this one, it's the difference between the actual bitrate itself and the file size, so it's really quick way of just doing that. You can mark smallest by hitting that button there, You can clear the marks, you can select all, you can mark smallest if you want to just clean all of the smallest versions really quickly. I wouldn't always recommend doing that, but it's there all the same. You can hit one and say, oh, I really like that because it's got some cues, and you can just like keep selected and it will mark the other one for cleaning, or clear marks again, and that's really great. We can mark smallest, and then we send things to the staging area. So once we've made some selections, you can see everything here's got a little green tick now for the ones that we've selected. We send them to the staged area and then move up to the top there. We can move this away as well if you want for keep working. We can also go to a different area and select different libraries. If you want that as a full screen, we go to review staged and they're all there. This is a previously kept version, which means it's got that cleaned tag. So yeah, that's a demonstration of how that works. So you can be like, oh, I'm reviewing that, but actually previously I've decided to keep it. So again, the tagging system I think is really interesting, really useful, really important. And as you can see, I've only done it on Engine, Serato and Rekordbox at the moment. Not really used much of VDG, only for testing. So we can go back to the split view. We can hide that altogether if we want. This shows here that we've still got 7 tracks in staged, and it shows here that we've still got all these still have some work, or they're still staged in somewhere within the program. It's not super obvious, so let's just go to restore split view, and all the tracks are in there as well. We can unstage them all and they go back to marked. We can clear the marks from whatever's in this window, but you notice that the marks are still remaining here. So let's select them all, clear marks. Easy peasy. I'll probably change that functionality at a later date because I probably would like it to have a clear marks or clear marks for everything. Might add another button in later on, but for now that's just how it works. We can exit the full screen and you'll see that the tags actually squish down a bit then. With the exception of the previously kept version, so that's a little bug, but again that's one to address for a later version. Instead of having the full title for these tags, they shrink down quite nicely and then pop out once they get big, once the window gets big enough. So that's really great. Right, let's pick a couple of tracks then. We'll pick that one, we'll pick that one, we'll pick this one, we'll pick this one, but we're not really too sure what this one is, so we can just quickly play it. There we go. Super quick, doesn't take any time at all. We can click this button, opens up the browser and takes you to the location where it's stored. We can double click that one, it will stage it if you want, and then the ones that are the ones that are selected on top of that, we can stage those and bring those in as well. So it's got a really nice workflow. I think I've almost thought of everything, but guys, I'm sure you will think of something else as well. We can search here, we can select certain ones and hide the others. There we go, so that functionality is there. And once we're happy, let's just blitz these out of the library. Are you sure? Because now they're going to be gone. All of our softwares now, and once we click OK, they'll show up as like red, as in they're missing from the libraries. So once you click this, that's it, they're gone. They're gone from your hard drive or gone from the linked locations what your software looks at. So let's go have a look. We'll open that folder. This is where we've specified back here in the master output destination, and if we delete them here, they're gone. They'll go into the bin, but effectively they're gone. So I'd recommend that until you're super sure, we'll just leave them alone and let them fester for a bit. That locations obviously is then going to get quite large over time, and what you can do if you think you've made a mistake, you just press undo the move, and it will physically return the 3 files back to the original folders. Boom, done. And they're back in the stage for review also, so you can have another second go at it, and you might be like, okay, I actually wanted to keep this one, so let's put that one back into our files what we're going to keep. We're going to close that review, and then we're going to unstage all, and we're going to clear the marks. Everything's deselected here. As you can see, it's marked. When we pick something, it's marked. When we pick something, if we double click, it turns into a staged. So we've got a kind of good observational overview of every step of the process. And then just to give you a quick observation at how quick this is, if I go to my music folder here, there's a few thousand tracks in here altogether. Okay, yes, boom, done. 22,000 files it came up with there, and it's come up with 640 groups and over 8,600 music files, which are duplicates. And that's because I have loads of like samples and sample libraries in here for my production, although this is not my main computer for DJing, so my main music library for DJing is on a different PC, where again there's thousands of files, but it just shows you how quick it is. Obviously that's dependent on how fast your PC is, your Mac, how fast your hard drive is. So if you're on an old mechanical type drive, then that's obviously going to be a bit slower. So that's it. I don't really think there's anything else I can add at the moment, but I hope you can see that the software is really functional. It's been made by a working DJ that needed a product that didn't really exist, not without having to pay quite a lot of money. I've put loads of work into it. It's been a labour of love. I've been opening the laptop up the minute I get out of bed, and I have another job as well, so I've been going to a day job, finishing work, coming back on it, laptop open, working till I go to bed, and I've literally been laid in bed doing it while the wife falls asleep. So much effort's gone into this, and I really, really believe in the product now. But it's now over to you guys. I am pricing it very, very respectfully cheap. And I think it's very worth it in comparison to some of the other softwares out there, especially some that like have a subscription model. I'm not really into that. It will remain offline forever, and I just hope you stay with me on the journey and support it. And I really hope that it helps you out along the way as well. As I mentioned at the start, really open to feedback along the way. So yeah, please do, if it's going to help you out, purchase it. Follow the page on Facebook and Insta. Stay with us for all updates, and yeah, thank you very much for watching this far. If you have watched this far and you're still here, thank you very much. But that is all for now. This is DJ Duplicate Cleaner, and this is version 3.0. All the best. Take care.